Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to our brand new YouTube channel, Lifting the Veil with Laurie and Lisa. I'm Laurie Beth Tom and I'm joining you from Brisbane, Australia this evening. I am a credentialed mental health nurse, bibliotherapist and trauma therapist. And I'm going to be handing you over to my very good friend and co-host, the lovely Lisa Collins, who's joining us from Wales in the United Kingdom, and it must be about lunchtime where Lisa is at the moment. And Lisa's going to be introducing our special guest this evening on Lifting the Veil. Over to you, Lisa.
Thank you, Laurie. And yeah, my name is Lisa Collins. I've spent 30 years in mainstream healthcare as a change manager, transforming services. And I now do that for individuals on a personal basis and working holistically. So today we are joined by the beautiful Sophie Auber from the south of France. And she has a beautiful French company called Pour l'amour de soi. I've been practicing, which means for the love of yourself. Sophie has done many years of teaching yoga and movement of life workshops. And she has this very beautiful way of incorporating the practice of self-love into everything that she does and using movement through the body. So today we have a Valentine's special for you to discuss self-love. And my first question to you, Sophie, is what is the difference between self-love and self-care? Because we hear the term self-care all the time, but I know your focus is very much on self-love. So can you start us off with that, please?
Hello everyone, I'm really happy to be here with Laurie and Lisa. Thank you for inviting me. So I'm Sophie Auber, I live in the south of France, like Lisa said, and I lived in the UK for 15 years, so I'm always happy to speak English and connect with English-speaking community. I've been teaching yoga for 16 years and movement and dance. And for me, what's really dear to my heart is to be able to bring people back in connection to themselves and through their body, because to me, you can't really get to know yourself unless you are in your body, unless you start to reconnect to what's really happening within, because we're so often in our head and we forget to tune in and feel, just be in that felt sense of ourselves. So to me, what's really important is getting people back in connection with their body to really feel who they are. I think unless you are present to your inner world, you can't really know who you really are. To me, that's the way in. It's the door to access yourself.
So that
we live in our body. We live our life with this body, and a lot of the time we forget it, and it's our vehicle. I don't know how to say that. And then we need to look after it. So your question, the difference between self-love and self-care. Well, I think quite a lot of the time self-care is something we will do to look after ourselves and our body. Like, for example, going to a gym, doing some sports so that we can stay fit and healthy. So it's good to do that. It's good to care about our body, but it's always interesting to look at from what place do I do that. Is that from a place of fear that I'm going to get too overweight, for example, or is it from a place of I need to get, like performance? No, I need to get better and always push myself, and and being attached to an objective going, I need to run that fast or that often, and then being kind of like a bit rigid about it? Or is it from a place of love in a way? Is it from I want to go running because I love it and makes me feel good, and then I can really just be in tune with my body and know when it's okay to go running, when it's not, because some days I might feel tired and that might not be the best self-care for me, and maybe something else would be more loving to my body and more respectful to its rhythm and to its energy level. So to me, self-love is kind of, self-care can be self-love, but it needs to have presence, and presence to how am I feeling, what's going on within, and so if you do self-care from a place of lack or from a place of fear of not being loved enough, or yeah, I need to look like this, otherwise no one's going to look at me, and or I need to shave my legs as a woman, because otherwise I'm not feminine enough, and that, or I'm going to be judged, or is it coming from a place of fear or lack? And a lot of the time it is self-care. It's like or I was using this example recently. It's like a lot of the time people might go, for example, to the gym, and I was saying that to you, Lisa, the other day. I used to teach yoga in a gym, and I was always amazed at how people could like be on their treadmill and watch TV at the same time, and be kind of supposedly looking after their body, but actually not connected to it at all. Like somewhere else, and so how can you know how far to go with your exercise if you're not listening within, if you're not listening to your body? So to me, self-love is about listening. It's about tuning in. It's about being aware of what's going on within myself, and being accepting that there will be days when I'm full of energy, and yeah, it's the right thing for me to to go and do some active sport, and maybe someday actually if I'm tuning in and I'm present enough, I'm just got no energy today, and so I'd be better off doing a relaxation or something that just lie down and relax. But quite often we're run by our mind, our mind that says you have to, or you ought to, or the inner critic, or the judgmental part says you're not good enough, you're too big, you're too this, you're too that, and then you push yourself to do something, but not with respect and love for for yourself, but more from a place of I have to be better, I have to be someone else than who I am now. So self-love is about accepting ourselves as we are, learning to love all parts of ourselves, learning to accept the low energy days, accept stuck days, or moments where we feel stuck, moments when we feel really like aligned and everything's flowing. They're all parts of ourselves, and we are multidimensional. And I was listening to a talk this morning. This woman said, we all love stars, and stars are like five-pointed, five branches, or they're all important, for the star to shine. If there was only one point, it would be a triangle, and it wouldn't be shining like a star. And it's like us, you know, we need to accept all those parts of ourselves that makes us who we are, and that makes us shine and and yeah. But yeah, for me, self-love requires presence and listening within, being tuned into our body and to how we feel in each moment. And then when there's an emotion, for example, or how can we, you know, give space to that and allow that to be, and let it flow through us, rather than, oh no, I shouldn't be feeling this. I should be strong and and you know, it's shameful to feel this, so I'm just gonna not push that away. And something I taught as well for a long time, and Lisa, you know, this approach is life upgrade, and it's very much about learning to reunite with all those parts of ourselves, because you know, we are fragmented, we are multidimensional, but we are also a lot of the time fragmented, like parts of ourselves got lost somewhere along the ways, and parts of our energy and power. So each time we become aware of one part of ourselves, so obviously that, to me, the access door is the body. It's like being present to, wow, this person said that to me, and now I'm feeling really tight in my belly, for example. And so, of course, it's nothing to do really with the person. It's, you know, it's just showing me there's somewhere within, or somewhere in my being, you know, an information that says that is reacting. So rather than, you know, if I'm present enough, I'll feel that in my body, and I can just be with it and learn to become one with that part of myself, rather than either point the finger at outside, so it's not, you know, it's out there, the problem is out there, but that's giving our power away to someone else. So just to get our power back, and self-love is about learning to empower yourself as well. You can just bring those parts back within and reunite, sort of embrace those parts of yourself. So rather than blame yourself for reacting that way, it's like, okay, you know, I'm angry, for example, and so how can I just give space and embrace that part of me that's angry, and love it. And by loving it, it's like it finds a space within. It's like reunited, and then I'm a bit more in my power, because I've, you know, what's the word? Yeah, reunited. I found that part of myself again, and so bit by bit, the more I love all those parts, the more I sit in my power, and in my my energy becomes, you know, I expand. I think that's it. The more you reclaim, that's the word I was looking for, you reclaim those parts of yourselves, the more you sit in your power, and you feel like you're more aligned, more authentic. You're not so scared to, you know, not shave your legs. Not shave your legs, for example. It might be like, I don't care what people think. Yeah, I don't feel like doing that today. And then one day I'm like, oh, I just want to do a, you know, a nice self-care morning, because I just feel that would make me feel really good. Not because I want to do that to be loved out there, but, you know, I just do it for myself. So I think when there's self-love, the self-care will come from that place.
So it's that, yeah. Together. And it sounds like, I suppose the main, and that was a beautiful way to articulate it, and not just because your accent is just divine, but what the main things I took away from that when you were talking was I could picture self-love being an internal process coming from it within, and self-care is an external process. But it actually, and I don't know, maybe it's the mental health nurse in me. What I also pictured was the cognitive behavioral therapy model, where at the top of the model we have thoughts, and then we have feelings, and then we've got behavior and biology. And it sounds like the self-care sits in the behavior bit. It's a behavior we do. It's, you know, we're on that treadmill saying that we're caring for our body, but we're tuned in to the TV, because actually it's painful being on the treadmill. It's not necessarily something that we probably want to be putting our body through, so we're distracting ourselves. And then the self-love sits in the feelings and the biology aspect of it. So you know, it's feelings we have for ourselves. It's not thoughts about, oh, I better do this, or I'm going to get fat, I better do this, or you know, I'm going to feel rubbish about myself. And I suppose being a nurse as well, self-care, we're just over that sentence. We're over it, you know. Every time that you say, oh, you know, I'm feeling overwhelmed with the workload, it's like, oh, go and do some self-care. Have you thought about joining a gym? And so self-care, it becomes like a work in itself, like you said. It becomes but I guess what you were also saying was self-care can be self-love if it is something that you're feeling attuned to doing, and it's not I should do that, not loads of like shoulda couldas involved. So yeah, I love that. And I think that's what I'll take away from that, is that it comes, self-love is within and self-care is external processes.
Self-love is also comes from that place of, like I said, listening. So I think the more you're connected to yourself, the more you're tuned into your intuition as well, and to you're kind of guided, and you'll know what you need in each moment. I mean, obviously it's not always easy, you know. I mean, I go running like regularly, and I'm sure sometimes I do it more from a place of like, oh, I have to go running, rather than, you know, self-love. Yeah. So we all, you know, it's a learning process to to do things from. It's the same with whether it's to do with self-care or with your work or with anything really. It's like always asking yourself, from which place do I take this action? From which place do I decide to do this? Or, you know, is that from a place of fear or a place of love, of like, it's just guided from within? And when it's guided from within, you know, it comes from a place of self-love, because it comes from your heart, you know. So then your action will be just aligned, and it will be good for you, you know. So there's that aspect of self-love.
Yeah. So I'm really, and we're on the dawn of Valentine's Day for this interview, really. And so as Valentine's Day, you know, approaches, what is the self-love revolution about? You know, we associate love, don't we, with the beautiful France. You know, when we're thinking about love, we're thinking about the Eiffel Tower, and you know, things like that. Is a city that we, you know, in Great Britain definitely associate with love, and it's associated with that in Australia now that I live there as well. But can you tell us a bit more about self-love? And how people might look into that if they're not partnered at the moment, or they're unhappily partnered as we approach Valentine's Day?
Yeah, I think whether you've got a partner or not, or whether it's going well or not, it always starts with yourself, because you're the most important person in your life. No one can live your life apart from you. So if you know, it starts with ourselves, it starts with self-love. And I think the more loving we are to ourselves, it's like a lot of the time in relationship, we have you know, we want others to fill our void, to fill our, you know, places of emptiness, or and so we are kind of needy in a way. We're kind of we become dependent on the other person feeling the spaces within that we are not loving. So we want others to love us. We want people to love the parts that we don't love. But that's not possible, because however, you know, whatever, how do you say that? I'm searching for my English. So if someone is telling you, you're beautiful, you're amazing, you're awesome, and, you know, a lot of the time, but you don't believe that about yourself, you're not going to be able to integrate it. You're not going to be able to receive it. You're not, they can say that as much as they want, unless you believe that yourself, it's not gonna, you know, you're not gonna receive it fully. Yeah. So unless you love, it's like tending to your own garden first. And then, you know, when I remember hearing this image, but I can't remember it very well. It's like, yeah, you have your own garden to look after first, and then, you know, yeah, I mean, or maybe another image that we often use, you know, when we talk about looking after ourselves first, is like being on a plane, and you have to put your mask first, because otherwise you can't look after, you know, your child, or, you know, or the mask of the other person. So it's the same, you know, we need to feel full within to be able to give unconditionally to the other person, to love the other person unconditionally. One of the first thing is to love yourself. I mean, obviously that's, you know, an ideal. It's not always like that, but so for Valentine's Day, it's like I'm offering a movement of life, which is like a moving meditation with music online on Valentine's Day, this Sunday. And I said, you know, you offer yourself that space and time first, and then you can always come with your partner and do it together. But come into this practice deciding that you're going to give yourself first that presence and attention and, you know, time. And then when you're filled from your own love and presence, then you can share that and let that flow to the other person, you know, and then it will be very different in savor. You know, you will feel it's a very different flavor, you know, when the love comes from a place of fullness and comes from a place of need, you know. Or yeah, so always important to love ourselves first. If we want to love from a place of from the heart, you know, for fullness.
So would that help us? You know, when you were saying earlier about, you know, when someone's given you these compliments and saying that you look great and giving you all this validation, and if, you know, we can't receive that, we can't feel that as being authentic if we don't believe that about ourselves. Do you think it would help if we started I suppose as a behavior exercise, the next time someone does compliment you, just practice saying thank you? Because I think as well, I don't know what French women are like, but I know it's a very British thing that if someone says, oh, that's a lovely dress you're wearing, Lisa, you'd be like, oh, this was like £12 from Primark and it's 10 years old. We start saying stuff like that, or someone says, oh, yeah, you look really nice, and you'd be like, oh, like, you're joking, aren't you? I had like no sleep and I've got dry shampoo in my hair. We immediately feel awkward, don't we?
I would say it's a good exercise to say thank you and receive, but you have to really receive it, you know, because you can say thank you out of habit and you're not really receive it. So again, it's awareness and presence. So when someone says that to you, if you start to observe, that's why I say self-love is presence. You need to start becoming aware of yourself, becoming aware of your conditioning, becoming aware of your habits, becoming aware of how you respond to, someone saying something. Or so if I start to notice that every time someone compliments me, I go, ugh, then maybe I can, take a time, maybe later, it's like to sit and go, how can I be loving to that part of me that, is finding really hard to receive a compliment? How can I give that part of me some love? And then, just, it's okay. It's just not been used to receiving. So it's learned to, shut away. So if I can love that parts of myself that shuts away, and bit by bit do that again and again and again, eventually it's like, that parts of me feels recognized and loved, and it just softens and relax, and then it's something can come in, and then I hear a compliment, I'm like, thank you very much, and I'll just take it in. So it's a process. It's a process. It's a moment to moment practice. So yeah. So every moment you have to observe.
Do you find that French women naturally kind of push those compliments away? Because Laurie said it's very much a British thing that we recognize we do it. Is that something that's common with French women?
I don't think it's to do with, it might be a bit cultural, but I think it's mostly, an individual issue, in the sense that, maybe culturally and in our society, we have not been taught to receive very much, especially as women, we're very much looking after others. And but to me, it's more a question of, where you're at in your journey of self-love.
And why self-love, Sophie? What got you into the field of self-love? Because it's not a mainstream field. It's not accountancy or nursing, or it's not mainstream. What brought you down this path?
I think obviously for me it was very much around bringing people back into their body, through the yoga, mostly to start with, meditation. But I did gymnastics quite intensely when I was younger, and that was very much, not respectful to the body, like pushing and forcing, and eventually when I got into yoga much later in life, already that was a lot softer, a lot more, respectful. But then I did some form of yoga that were very young, and very young kind of energy, and where it wasn't very respectful of the body. And bit by bit, the more as I started to teach, and the more I taught and got into my own practice, the more I realized that if I listened to my body, and if I connected to the life moving through me, which is what does that, this movement, which animates your breath, but every systems of your body. It's what animates the whole cosmos. So when you reconnect to this movement and you start to just tune in and listen, then it will show you the way, and then you can do things with respect and love for your body, and you don't have to stay in a posture longer than you need to, or you don't have to do a posture that your body is not ready to do, and you can just really adapt to where you're at and who you are, but without feeling like in competition with others. And so the yoga really brought me there. And then also when I taught Life Upgrade, so this is a practice or an approach that I learnt in England, and also with Lisa, with our great, beautiful friend Tracy. And then I started teaching it in France. And it's very much about self-love, really, because it's about becoming aware of everything that's being activated within us, and knowing that it's just the past in us and we need to love it. So teaching this, and then the yoga, and now it's like, how can I bring all of that together with, you know, embodied self-love, you know. And to me it starts with our, like I said, presence and awareness, and it's much easier if we're connected to our body. Yeah.
So I put my glasses on because I could see these things flying around you. I didn't know I don't know whether I was seeing things. It looked like there was little orbs going around you there, Sophie. I don't know if you could see them, Lisa.
Yes.
I put my glasses on, so yeah, it's obviously you're surrounded by love in that beautiful red room of yours. So what practical steps, what is there books on the subject? Is there anything that's inspired you in your journey, like a particular book or movie?
Yeah. Well, I think one of the first books that comes to mind is The Power of Now from Eckhart Tolle. That was like a key book for me. That really, I read this book that happened to fall on my desk. I was living with this girlfriend, and she was messy. She always used to come to my room and spread her stuff on my desk, and used to get on my nerves. But one day she just left that book as a photocopied book, and I was like, what is this? She's left a mess again. And then I started reading, and it was that book, and I just couldn't stop reading it. And so I bought it, and then I did a insight meditation silent retreat, and then I had a revelation. It was like, wow, it was like a moment of awakening in some ways, you know. This is what it means to be present, you know, because you say be present, yeah, live in the now, but you know, what does it actually mean concretely, you know? And so I was so like, wow, okay, I understand now. It's almost like I accessed this part of me that could watch myself, you know, the consciousness.
Wow. So you've got, because that is a powerful book, and Eckhart talks about that being the presence behind your thoughts and observing yourself, and you actually experienced that, did you?
Yeah, it's just consciousness being aware of itself in a way, you know, it's just being aware of, it's like you're not identified with the small me. You're the big me looking at the small me, and then the big me can love the small me. So to me, that it started there. It's like after that retreat, I was like, I have to share this. I can't keep that to myself, even though it was just
for the messy roommate. Thank goodness.
Yeah, it's like I can't keep that to myself. So I started. I actually started. That's when I started teaching. It was just an evidence. Like I couldn't hold that. I had to share it. So I started a course called Live Life to the Full, which I created myself, and that's how it kind of started. You know, the teaching kind of mission, or you know. And to me, it's always about presence, you know. Yeah.
So just to ask, what kind of courses do you offer now? Do you offer courses to the general public? And
I do.
I suppose everything's online at the moment, isn't it, because of COVID? Yeah. But is there things that you're offering at the moment? You mentioned the Sunday Valentines movement. Is there bigger workshops that you're offering?
Yeah, at the moment it's in French, but I mean, like the movement, like the movement of life, you could come, because there's a little meditation in French, but then you can just be bathed in the energy of it without understanding the words. And then it's with music, and there's no guidance, very much you being there with yourself and just giving yourself the total freedom to be you, however that manifests. It could be that you lie down the whole time and and the music is being played, or it could be that you start moving and let your body do whatever it needs to do. And so it's quite good it works quite well online, because everyone is just in their own space and they don't have to have their camera on. They can just be in their own space, and then there's usually a sharing at the end. So I'll send you the link, and anyone can take part, even if your language is not French. And then I do online courses. For now they're in French. I'm aiming to translate that into English. But I've identified a path that to kind of meet yourself and love yourself in 6 steps. And this is what I take people through, whether it's on a retreat over 6 days, or we're on a course over 6 weeks, or even in one session. It could be taking people through the whole process. So I mean, that could be something I could do now, take you through a little meditation with this kind of 6 steps.
That'd be wonderful. Don't want to put you on the spot, but that would be.
Is there enough time?
Yes,
it could be a short one.
It's evening here in Brisbane, so I could do with a nice meditation. So if I fall asleep during this, just give me a.
Yeah, and it's really okay, as just be with what is. And if you fall asleep, that's perfect. Anything's perfect, whether you're fully there, or you drift out and you come back, or you go completely out. Just trust that there's an energy transmission that's happening anyway. So
that'd be wonderful. Yeah.
And then there'll be a recording, so you can listen to it again.
Yeah, lovely.
Thank you.
Okay.
Right, I'll put myself
I'll mute myself. Yeah.
So wherever you are, if it's a good time for you to do this meditation, then set yourself comfortable. If not, you can always just do it later. So just find a space where you can be really cozy, and you can really feel like it's possible for you to let go and release your body, release your weight into the earth, wherever you're sitting. You can take 2 or 3 deep breaths to just let go of whatever you went through today. If you're in Australia, or whatever your morning was about, if you're in Europe, just releasing any tension as you breathe out, and just letting your body open up with space each time you breathe in. You can just visualize it or imagine it. Don't have to feel it. And then I invite you to turn your attention even more within. Yeah, just like as if your eyes could just turn inward, and you're just going to be connecting to your inner world, to your inner landscape. And just take a moment to notice how you are feeling right now. So just to doing a little, what's the word? A little scan, just to getting a sense of, where am I right now? Who am I right now? What am I feeling? What am I sensing? What am I observing? So tune inward and just use your senses, just feel the sensation. That's you right now. However you feel, whatever is there, you just welcome it all. Be with what is. Whether it's comfortable, uncomfortable, whether it's light or dark, whether it's soft or hard. So it's just being present with yourself as you are, without wanting to change anything. Just being with yourself with equanimity, meaning I have no preference. All is welcome. All is lovable. And then you can just notice if there are spaces, areas within that are more tense. You know, maybe you've noticed that some places a bit stiff or maybe a bit tight. And you can just connect to your breath as it is. Don't try to breathe in a particular way. Just notice your breath. Connect to that inner movement, that pulsating movement within. And you can breathe into those spaces. You don't need to force your breath. Just imagine your breath as some light, or just a nice fluid full of light. And then when you breathe in, you can just imagine that fluid just surrounding those parts of your body that tight, tense, enveloping, embracing. So your in-breath is like full of love. And then you can sense that anything that's maybe hard or tight is just softening as you exhale, as you breathe out. It's like you're breathing in love around those parts of yourself, and then they're releasing, they're reuniting and realigning within, softening. It's like they're being seen. When we feel seen and acknowledged, we soften. And then you can connect to your breath. Stay connected to that movement of life within you. Feel the movement of expansion each time you breathe in, and how your body can expand and how you can create more space within your body with each in-breath. And how you can just soften each time you breathe out. Just relax. And then you're going to let your attention come into your heart. Just notice the area of your heart. And you're going to imagine there's a little door that opens somewhere in your heart, and you're going to open the door, and inside you see a huge spirally slide. It's like a vortex form, and you can just imagine sliding down, and it takes you to the heart of your heart, to the center of your heart, to the center of yourself, to the heart of everything. And you just let yourself just go down right in the center of your heart, in this space full of love. It's like an ocean of love. And you just dive into it. And you just feel that oneness. It's like you're the drop of water that joins the ocean, and you're just pure love, one with everything. It's a sacred space where you can remember who you are, your power, your light, the love that you are. A place where all can be welcome, all parts of yourself, all situation. You know, from that place you can become one with everything that comes into your heart. You can let everything slide into your vortex and let it be reunited in that space of love, of oneness. So maybe if there's parts of yourself that you know you don't like so much, or you'd rather not see or look at, or parts of yourself that you tend to reject or judge, you can just imagine. Maybe, you know, some of these parts come to your awareness, and you can just let them slide into the heart, into the vortex of the heart, and be reunited in that ocean of love, the oneness, pure love of your heart. It's like you embracing all those parts of yourself. And you just feel how each time you know, part of yourself lands there and is welcomed and is loved, you expand and you become, your light expands and you become a bit more yourself, and you can sit in your power a bit more. It's like sitting, it's like embodying who you are a bit more in your cells. Your whole being is kind of stronger. And then from that place, from that place expanded you, the new version of yourself, you know you can try new ways. You can explore new, but maybe you can dare a new situation or new ways of being. So every time you expand, you become a newer version of yourself, an upgraded version of yourself, and you can, from that place, you know, be more authentic. You can learn to do new things. You can access a bigger version of yourself that has more confidence. Is maybe less scared to be judged, or whatever, you know, is changing within. So when you change within, by expanding in that way, by reuniting yourself with all those parts of yourself in that way, then you expand and you become more of who you are. And then this is self-love. And then you don't have to do things by fear of not being loved, but because you love yourself, you are choosing to do this or that, or whatever you choose to do from that place, centered in your heart. So you can just slowly, you know, just either stay in that energy a bit longer if you wish to, or you can just slowly come back by opening your eyes.
Oh, thank you, Sophie. That was absolutely beautiful. That was lovely. What did you think, Laurie?
I'll just let you listen to something. Just listen. Just so you know, I'm awake. That's not me. That's the dog snoring under the table. You put her to sleep.
Oh,
I've never heard her snore like that. So I opened my eyes at 2 points because I was like, just checking it as a dog and not Lisa. It was beautiful. Yeah, it was really, I actually wish I'd turned my light off. Actually, it was really relaxing, and it just felt wrong having like the artificial bright light in the room. But yeah, I loved that about the expansion, about, you know, growing with love as you expand. Yeah, it's really beautiful.
Yeah, so it's kind of those, I took you through those 6 steps. I didn't really, you know, name them, but, you know, it's like this, that path to, you know, that takes you back to the center of yourself, in that place where you can really be with what is, you know, love what is.
And it's interesting just to observe then what comes up when you're in that space, and to really practice the self-love of accepting and being, you know, allowing it in. And just
sorry.
And just, oh bless, and just 2 reflections that I wanted to quickly mention. At the beginning, when you were talking about self-love, it felt very much that also as women, we, you know, we need to recognize that we are cyclical beings, you know, so tuning in and seeing how we feel on different days is very relevant to us because of our monthly cycles. I think a lot of what we end up doing is we try to behave in more this masculine linear fashion, which doesn't work for us. So I kind of just wanted to mention that. And I also wanted to mention that you know, the self-love, there's something about pleasure with that as well, because you know, I always see that the self-care feels a bit more like refurbishment or effort, or kind of having to do, you know, the things that we think is self-love. But there's something about pleasure that feels like when you come from a place of self-love, that there's pleasure in your self-care. Like you said, then you know, you're running because there's a pleasure in running, rather than it's painful and you hate it, you know, which tends to be my style of running. Just like, I'm running thinking I hate running, you know, which is why I don't run very often. But yeah, there's something about pleasure.
Definitely, yeah. And that's one thing I have on my French website is goûter, which means to taste, to savor, to you know, to savor the pleasure of being yourself. Because to me, you know, when I'm in my body, when I'm present to my body, when I'm just tuning in, it just feels so, it's so pleasurable. And then it's like, wow, that's me, you know, that's who I am, you know, really. It's not who I think I am with my head, but when I connect in presence to my inner world and to my body, then it's like, and of course sometimes it's not so nice, because we're going through, you know, emotions, or, you know, and so a lot of the time we run away from ourselves because we don't want to feel that. But actually, when you learn to be with those emotions, because they're just we say energy in motion, you know, just an emotion, an energy that's moving through us, and we tend to judge it as negative, or, you know, but actually it's just an energy. And if we learn to just, you know, let them move through, and you know, and that's why movement is good, because you can kind of actually give it a movement. And sometimes it's much easier to let it kind of, you know, move through us, rather than I don't want to feel this, so I'm just, you know, distract myself, or I'm you know, kind of like get tense, and, you know, it's like life moving through us. So either we control and we don't want to feel life, and we just, but then eventually it will come, you know, out with illness or whatever, you know, back pain, or so the more we can be with all this energy moving throughout, the more we learn that actually it can be really pleasurable if you just move with it.
It really struck me, actually, what you said about your younger years and doing the gymnastics, and actually the way you're talking about it, you know, it sounds like it's almost like some of the things it's manipulating your body in such a way it can kind of violate it.
Yeah,
in some sense.
I think it's quite a reflection of our society. You know, we exploit nature, or constantly exploiting nature, and we think we're bigger than it, and we exploit our body.
And that's something I haven't thought about. I suppose someone that has no gymnastic talent, and I remember, you know, even now when I watch it, I think it's incredible and beautiful. But because I haven't been through it, it really made me reflect on the fact that it may appear and look beautiful, but it's a very, very difficult discipline. And I suppose you would have to be very you'd have to be critical of yourself quite a lot to get things perfect. Which
I think most competitive sports, you know, they're very they're very much exploiting the body. You know, it's like, to me, it's the old paradigm. And at the moment, I'm learning a practice, which is a French practice, which is kind of like a little bit influenced by martial art, but it's not really. It's called Wu Tao, and to me, it's like the new paradigm, in the sense that it's about learning to reconnect to this pulsation, this undulation of life, and then to just let the movement come from that. So learning to get out of the way, learning to get out of the way,
yes.
your little me, and making space for the big me, because the big me is this intelligence that knows exactly what to do or where to take you. And you know, if you let it be, it's amazing, whether in your body or in your life, it's the same, you know. So
and that energy in motion, that emotion is just energy in motion. That's beautiful. So I can really see how these kind of movement workshops and that you're offering can help people release that energy, you know, that emotion, whatever it may be, grief or anger or sadness or despair, or just release
even the one we judge as positive, you know, joy and excitement, they're all the same, really.
Okay, I'm just thinking about the time and start to wrap things up. Sophie, if there's one thing that you wanted to share with people about the art or the practice of self-love, you know, one thing that they would hold in their mind from this conversation, what would it be?
I think anything that supports and helps you become more present is going to be the key, because you can't have self-love unless you're present to yourself. You know, you can't love yourself if you stay in your head thinking, I'm this, I'm that, I'm not good, I'm not, you know. So presence is the key. And so anything that supports you or helps you to be more present, whether that's meditation or gardening, or, you know, whatever it is for you. I mean, meditation is a great way to, you know, to build that that muscle of being observant, you know, being the observer and looking from above, in a way. It's like being able to look at yourself from a further apart, and so you're not stuck to, you know, the little me, but you're so anything that supports you with that is gonna help you with self-love. And then it's just welcoming everything that you see and notice and feel.
Beautiful.
It's all part of you.
Thank you. Laurie, is there anything that you'd like to add?
No, that was just beautiful. And what we'll do is we'll link in your website, Sophie, and that, you know, for all the French speakers out there, and then it's going to be translated over into English at some point as you start to offer your workshop.
I do also one-to-one, so obviously I can do one-to-one in English, because that's really powerful.
And people get in touch with you through your website, do they, Sophie? They get in touch with you through your website. Is that the best way?
Yeah. And one-to-one it can be really powerful, because I can adjust it to your needs, and whether that's through movement or meditation, or, you know, or just listening, just holding space for you.
Beautiful. Well, we'll definitely link your website and Eckhart Tolle's brilliant book as well for people that haven't read it. So yeah, that was a lovely reference. So thank you for sharing that. And thank you for coming on Lifting the Veil and sharing the love in your beautiful red room, in your wonderful French, exquisite accent, and yeah, right on time for Valentine's Day. We're just ready to show ourselves some self-love and fill our own voids and not look for that external validation. So thank you so much, Sophie. And
thank you for
yeah,
having me. And
we look forward to joining
for,
you in some
your
you know, some
time.
of your mindful movement in the future. And yeah, and we'll have everything linked for our viewers. So if you've enjoyed today's session, or you think that someone else might enjoy it, please give us a like and share with any family and friends that might benefit from our talk today on self-love. And we want to wish you all a very happy Valentine's Day, wherever you are, whether you're partnered or single, whatever's going on in your life. We just wish you a day filled with love. And stay safe, everyone, and stay intuitive. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
I love the way we've all got a bit of shoulder showing. It's a bit of it's our French.
Well,
our French.
I know. I'm being very French. I've got my bra hanging out. Oh, I shouldn't be wearing one, should I?
I know. I think it's okay to be French and have your bra strap showing.
Oh, okay, that's good.
What do you reckon, Sophie? Is that your recommendation?
Yeah. Just do whatever makes you feel right.
Yeah.